The Menendez name once shimmered. It spoke of immense wealth, a life of Beverly Hills privilege. Jose Menendez, a Cuban immigrant, climbed the corporate ladder. A self-made entertainment executive. Live entertainment. Big business. Big money. His ambition knew no bounds. A kingdom built on success. Or so it appeared to the world. Kitty Menendez, his wife, was beautiful, socially adept. Their sons, Lyle and Erik, were handsome, seemingly well-adjusted. They attended exclusive schools, drove expensive, fast cars, and lived a life others only dreamt of. The perfect family portrait, a lie, carefully constructed. Their home, a sprawling mansion on Elm Drive, Beverly Hills. Inside, opulence was standard. Marble floors, designer furniture, swimming pools, tennis courts. Everything money could possibly buy. Yet, happiness remained elusive. Beneath the gloss, darkness festered. The Menendez illusion was fragile, destined to shatter into pieces. The date: August 20th, 1989, a balmy Sunday evening. Inside 722. North Elm Drive, horror was about to unfold. Jose Menendez sat watching television. Kitty was nearby, perhaps reading. The tranquility was a cruel deception. Death waited in the shadows. Their own sons, the executioners. A brutal, bloody betrayal. Lyle Menendez dialed 911, the time 11:47 p.m. His voice fraught with panic. "Someone's killed my parents." Police officers rushed to the scene. They found a slaughterhouse. Jose slumped on the couch, shotgun blasts at point-blank range. Kitty, near the hallway, unrecognizable. Overkill. Pure, unadulterated overkill. The scene was gruesome, chilling. No signs of forced entry. Nothing appeared stolen, initially. This puzzled investigators. It had the hallmarks of a mob hit. Professional, ruthless, efficient. The brothers claimed they were out. A film, then a food festival. They returned to find carnage. Or was it a performance? Detectives observed them closely. The first seeds of doubt. The funerals were lavish affairs. Tears flowed, seemingly genuine. Lyle and Erik, grieving orphans. They eulogized their parents, spoke of love, of loss, the picture of filial sorrow. But behind the somber suits and the carefully crafted words, a different reality was emerging. One of cold calculation. Days after laying their parents to rest, the spending began. A spree, over $700,000, money from their inheritance. Lyle bought a Porsche Carrera, Erik, a Jeep Wrangler. Rolex watches adorned their wrists, expensive designer clothes filled wardrobes. They invested in a restaurant called Wings, in Princeton, New Jersey. This conspicuous consumption raised eyebrows. Was this how bereaved sons behaved? Flashing cash, living large, while their parents lay cold. The police took careful note. The mob hit theory weakened. A new motive started to form. Greed. Pure, simple greed. The brothers seemed unconcerned. They partied. They traveled. The investigation pressed on. Months passed. No arrests. The brothers remained free. But Erik Menendez was unraveling. The weight of his secret, crushing. He sought solace in therapy. Dr. Jerome Oziel, his confidant, a Beverly Hills psychologist. Here, the truth began to surface. A confession, chilling and detailed. Erik broke down. He confessed. He and Lyle had done it. They had murdered their parents. The details were horrifying. The planning, the execution. The motive, he claimed, was fear. Years of alleged abuse. Dr. Oziel was stunned, horrified. He urged Erik to tell Lyle. Lyle then confronted Oziel, threateningly. The therapist's office, usually a sanctuary of secrets, became a crucible of danger. Dr. Oziel's mistress, Judalyn Smythe, became entangled in the drama. Oziel, fearing for his life, confided in Smythe. Played her tapes of his sessions with the brothers. Smythe, perhaps sensing an opportunity or perhaps genuinely scared, went to the police. The tapes were a bombshell, a direct line to the killers. The police finally had their breakthrough. In March 1990, Lyle was arrested. Erik surrendered upon returning from Israel. Section 5. Trial by Fire. The Abuse Defense and a Deadlocked Jury. The trial began in 1993. Court TV broadcast it live. The nation watched, captivated. Two handsome young men accused of an unthinkable crime. Parricide, the murder of parents. The prosecution's case seemed strong. Greed was the motive, they argued. The brothers wanted the family fortune. A straightforward, brutal killing. But the defense had a strategy. A shocking, controversial claim. Years of horrific abuse. Sexual abuse by their father, Jose. Emotional and physical abuse. Their mother, Kitty, complicit, or too weak, too unstable to stop it. The brothers killed out of fear. They snapped after a lifetime of torment. It was self-defense, they argued. The testimony was graphic, disturbing. Erik and Lyle took the stand. They wept. They recounted horrors. A dark underbelly of the Menendez home. The perfect family. A monstrous lie. Some jurors were swayed. They saw victims, not villains. Others remained skeptical. Was this a genuine cry of pain or a cynical ploy for sympathy? The jury deliberated for weeks. Finally, they returned. Section 6. Retrial and Reckoning. Greed, not grief, the verdict. The prosecution prepared for a second battle. They would not make the same mistakes. The retrial began in late 1995. This time, one judge, one jury, and a crucial change in strategy. Judge Stanley Weisberg presided. He severely limited the abuse testimony, ruled much of it inadmissible. No cameras allowed this time. The focus shifted decisively. The prosecution hammered home its point. Motive, money. Cold, hard cash. The brothers wanted their inheritance. They wanted freedom from their parents. The abuse claims, a fabrication. A desperate attempt to escape justice. Without the full force of the abuse narrative, the defense struggled. The brothers appeared less sympathetic, more like calculating killers. The evidence of their spending spree. The confessions to Dr. Oziel. These were powerful points. The prosecution painted a picture of premeditated brutal murder, driven by avarice and impatience. The jury listened intently. This time, their deliberations were shorter. The outcome, starkly different. No deadlock, no sympathy. In 1996, the verdict came. Guilty, first-degree murder. For both Lyle and Erik Menendez, they were sentenced to life in prison. Section 7. Behind cold stone walls, 2 lifetimes of regret. Life without parole, a sentence of slow despair. Lyle and Erik Menendez, once rich heirs, now numbers in the prison system, separated for many years, in different California penitentiaries. Their youth faded behind bars. The world outside moved on. But their story lingered. A dark chapter in American crime. They maintained their claims of abuse, even as hope for release dwindled. Erik, in particular, expressed remorse. Not for killing, but for the pain caused. He spoke of the trauma, the inescapable shadows of his past. Lyle, often more defiant. Yet he too spoke of regret. They gave interviews, wrote letters, trying to explain the inexplicable. For decades, their fate seemed sealed. The legal system had spoken. Appeals were exhausted, denied. They were destined to die in prison. A grim end to a tragic saga. The public memory of them, often that of spoiled, rich killers. The abuse claims, for many, unconvincing. Or, if true, not a justification. Not for such a brutal act. Section 8. Echoes from the past. New claims, new hopes in 2025. Then, a surprising turn of events. Decades after their conviction, new information began to surface. In 2023, a letter emerged, reportedly written by Erik as a teenager, detailing alleged abuse by his father. This discovery fueled renewed interest and calls for a re-evaluation. Could this change the narrative? Could it impact their sentences? The legal landscape was also shifting. California laws evolved, considering youthfulness at the time of offense. Lyle was 21, Erik just 18, when they committed the murders. This became a crucial factor. In May 2025, a Los Angeles judge resentenced the Menendez brothers to 50 years to life. Suddenly, parole became a possibility. As of today, May 22, 2025. Their situation is dramatically different. They are now eligible for parole. An initial parole suitability hearing is scheduled for August 21st and 22nd, 2025. This hearing was recently rescheduled, pushed back from an earlier June date. Victims' next of kin objected. The delay allows more preparation for both sides of this enduring case. The future remains uncertain. Section 9. The Court of Public Opinion. Monsters, martyrs, or both? Public opinion on the Menendez brothers has always been a shifting tide. In the early 90s, during the trials, many saw them as cold-blooded killers, spoiled brats who murdered for money. The initial media coverage often reinforced this perception. The extravagant spending spree did little to garner sympathy. The prosecution's narrative was powerful. However, the abuse allegations planted a seed of doubt. For some, it was a compelling defense. It painted a picture of desperation, of two young men pushed to the brink. The first trial's hung jury reflected this societal division. Were they driven by greed or terror? The truth seemed buried under layers of trauma and lies. In recent years, a significant shift, particularly among younger generations, who encounter the case online, through documentaries, podcasts, social media, TikTok videos dissecting the trial. There is a growing sympathy, a willingness to believe the abuse claims, and to view the brothers as victims of a dysfunctional, horrific family, who reacted, albeit violently. This re-examination is intense, fueled by new perspectives on trauma. Section 10. An unending saga. Justice, mercy, and the Menendez shadow. The Menendez brothers case remains an enduring American tragedy, a story of wealth, murder, and secrets. It shattered the illusion of a perfect family, exposing a dark, disturbing reality. For over 3 decades, it has captivated and horrified, raising profound questions about justice, abuse, and culpability. Questions that still lack easy answers. As of May 2025, their fate hangs in the balance. The resentencing has opened a door that seemed permanently closed. The upcoming parole hearing in August will be a pivotal moment. Will they be deemed suitable for release after so many years behind bars? Or will their crimes forever define them as men who must never walk free? Society watches, once again divided. The legacy of this case is complex. It forced a conversation about child abuse and its potential devastating consequences. It also highlighted the power of narrative in the courtroom and in public perception. The brothers' story has evolved from pariahs to, for some, pitiable figures. The truth, perhaps, lies somewhere in between, a tangled web of trauma and transgression. A story with no simple heroes or villains. Ultimately, the Menendez saga is a stark reminder